So, three things. Number one, four for Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco. And number two, she doesn't even go here. And number three, don't look at me. So, these are the three lines from Damien that should not be modified or even be deleted if Mean Girls, the movie, the original movie, is going to be interpreted into another form, either Broadway show or even a new movie. So yeah, I went to see the new Mean Girls movie. It was fun. Not gonna give any spoilers, but as you might have known now, Damien is my favorite character, and the most underrated line from the movie is "Don't look at me" from Damien. If you know which scene this line came from the original movie, let me know. Write on the comment section. Tell me where in the original movie Damien say, "Don't look at me." And yeah, I think it's only one time he said that line. If there's multiple, tell me, you know, all of them if you find them, if you found them, or if you know what I'm talking about, because that's my favorite scene, and I cannot say anything. The connection between that line in the original movie to the new movie, if you don't want any spoilers. Anyway, Happy New Year and welcome and welcome back to this knitting podcast that has been, I would say, during the holiday, it's pretty difficult to keep up because I was traveling outside of the United States and I did not bring any of my recording instruments, like my Canon digital camera or my blue what do you call this, microphone, and even my laptop. I did not bring anything, so I did published an episode on the 1st of January. I was still in Malaysia, but I was just stitching little video clips here and there, and like pictures from my iPhone using iMovie in my iPhone. So it was not really a like a whole long episode. So of the new year. So this will be I would say like the first full episode of 2024. So anyway, I will continue the structure of the podcast as previous episodes. So if you're new here, welcome. And this is Be Extra, a knitting podcast by me, Stephanus. Be Extra means be proud, be brave of your crafting, your knitting. Just be creative, I would say, because a lot of time when we're trying something new, especially in creating art or doing something that requires a skill, a lot of time we will feel like, oh, we're not skilled enough to do the craft or the arts or whatever the job. But just be brave, try it, make mistakes, and I guess that's how you learn. Anyway, that's the whole idea of the knitting podcast. I just used the word "be extra." I'm sure people will think there's a negative connotation on it, but I'm trying to take back the word be extra and give positive meaning to it. But anyway, welcome. So, the structure of this podcast, I start with sharing experiences, knowledge, because I find this knitting YouTube community and also the knitting community is really helpful, especially when I was starting, knitting during the pandemic back 4 years ago. Uh, it's a great resource for people to utilize if they want to pick up a knitting skill or even join the community. So it's kind of like a payback by giving or sharing some experiences. And then the second part of this podcast is basically sharing what my knitting activities lately. So to begin with, um, what I would share, and this has something to do with my current knitting project all the way up to March, I would say. Um, if you have followed my knitting podcast last year, I shared a lot of knowledge or experiences on how to kind of like make your own design, because a lot of stuff that I make, garments that I wear and make, are really just my design of whatever fashion trend or knitting trend that I see, observe, but I want to modify or bring it to my own interpretation. So a lot of time, the knowledge that I shared is somewhat, how to design your own stuff. But this time, I would like to give some experiences on how to follow an already published um, designs. Just a little tip that I found really useful when I started um, um, knitting. So my tip is, when you follow a new design. So if, let's say, you go to Ravelry and you download a pattern, either free or paid for pattern, if this is something new, I suggest you read back and forth, meaning don't even cast on. A lot of time, when we're too excited to start a new project, we get our pattern. It says, we go to the first page and then it says cast on 56 stitches. Um, or after we finish, even if after we finish our gauge, let's say, okay, gauge is important. I keep saying gauge is important. So do your gauge. So let's say you finish your gauge and then you figure out your needle size, you figure out your yarn weight, and then you figure out your size with respect to the pattern, and then right away you cast on, after you go past the gauge section. I would say, after you did your gauge and all that, before you cast on, read all the way to the end of the pattern. If you know the designer already, if you know the style of their writing, it's fine to go ahead and do however you like to do when you knit their pattern. However, different designer will have different writing style. A lot of people will put some information or a lot of information on, maybe what to do at certain parts of the knitting in the beginning of the pattern, but then start the actual instruction of the knitting, somewhere near the middle or near the end, or so it's not really clear when the actual instruction is. Or they could also start from the first page, but if you're not careful, there might be important sentence or part in the middle of the pattern that you should know before you start knitting. Or if you did not read that, it would have been too late had started casting on and then go page per page, and before finding that important part. So it's kind of like, I guess if I take an analogy of sports, it's like playing tennis. Before you hit a ball, you always put your hand, or your hitting hand, like a racket holding hand, at the back. You're preparing your body to have that momentum to hit the ball. You don't bring your hand to the back once the ball hit, or arrives uh, close to your body where you're going to hit it, because by then it's already too late. So pretty much like that. So just this is just to prevent you from frogging back or starting from the beginning. And another I would say suggestion is, when you go from the front to the end, kind of put it in your mind, the process, kind of like make a big picture of the pattern. Say, okay, so let's say this is a top down. Initially, let's say I do provisional, and the provisional around the neck is suggested, let's say, because it will allow you to go modify the neckline at the end however you like, and then after the neck there is the the yoke, and then the yoke, maybe there's a color work, and the color work, is it finished before or after the separation of the sleeves, something like that. I like to put that in my mind, because if I know all that, I can just knit without anxiety. So let's say, oh, I know this work, like a color work, will finish before my separation of sleeves, so I don't have to care about where my I don't know what is that, waist yarn or anything that will help me in to separate my sleeves before I finish my color work. So I will just focus on color work. I will enjoy this color work. Once the color work is done, I know there will be, let's say, oh, there will be this, for example, this guy, well, this is not really top down, but let's say, oh, after the green color work, that's where I need to separate my sleeve. And then when I separate my sleeve, it told me to decrease to do the shaping. So so instead of like keep going knitting around and around, because you thought that you already have the correct amount of stitches, once you do the separation of sleeves, the pattern might told you to do something else. So having that in mind, you can enjoy your knitting, and also kind of remind yourself, ooh, like you can go like, ooh, while you're knitting. So maybe you're knitting like this, like, oh, I'm enjoying this a lot. And then, ooh, and then you open your pattern. Anyway, you get the idea. How many minutes is that? It's only 20 minutes, and I only want to make 40-minute recording. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Um, Okay, now let's go to the knitting. What have I been knitting? Well, first of all, if you go back to the first January episode, you know that I was in a tropical country, or three tropical countries that are next to each other. I went to Sumatra, Indonesia, where my hometown is. I also went to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and spent a couple of days there with my family. And then I also went to Singapore for one night. And then I came back to the United States. So it was pretty hot and humid. And, like touching wool is not really my. Hold on. Do I need to. I need to increase here. Yeah, touching wool is not really something that I look forward to. But I actually did do some knitting. And although I did not really explain in that last episode, I can tell you now what I have been working on. So I did not bring any big project for my travel. So meaning I did not start, the next sweater that I want to start, which I will go over in a moment. But I brought a couple of skeins to just make socks to whoever wants wool sock, because next year or this year our family reunion will be somewhere cold. So instead of everyone going uh, 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 everyone unites or reunites in Sumatra in our parents' home, we're gonna pick a country and a city that will in December, close to December maybe, that will be having a lot of snow. So I'm kind of like starting myself to make like socks, gloves, hats, and also sweater for every single family member. So it's kind of like a year long project that I thought, maybe it's nice. But the thing is, I already, almost everyone in my family that are, going to travel to the next reunion place, almost everyone has sweater that I knitted for them. Yeah, maybe a couple more people that I re-knit. I need to re-knit anyway. But maybe I'm not gonna make everyone sweaters, but definitely I will make everyone gloves, socks at least, and maybe some shawl. So that's kind of like my plan throughout the year this year until this winter. I mean, this coming next winter, 24 to 25. Um, so I brought this. Where is this? I'll find it. Oh yeah, I lost the band, the information of this. I'll find I'll find the band if I can, and then put it information. But this is a self striping sock, and I made short socks for Abby, my niece. She's 6 years old. Um, and then I finished it. I started in Indonesia, finished it in Indonesia, and she wore it while, we were in my parents' home. Um, I don't know if we packed it or Abby packed it back to California, but doesn't matter. I'll tell my mom to bring it to wherever we're going to vacation next winter. So that's the first one, and the second one I was making this I started making sock for myself. So this is just a vanilla sock. Um, it is called Santa Suit, the colorway. Again, I lost the band, the yarn, the ball band. But this is a yarn of skein that I picked up from San Francisco a couple of years ago when I visited Berkeley and San Jose. My sister lives in Santa Clara, and I used to work in Berkeley, California, at the synchrotron light source there. And whenever I visited Berkeley, I went to San Francisco, and I stopped by and forgot which yarn store that I went to. And also last time I went to Berkeley, there's a Berkeley yarn store that I visited. I did not get that yarn from there, but let me hold on. I should be prepared on this, but why I'm bringing this up because yeah, I went to Black Squirrel Berkeley yarn store. Sorry. Anyway, Squirrel Berkeley yarn store, and they're really nice there. Why I'm bringing this up because they actually are starting a new Stitch and Bitch group every Mondays, 6 to 9, starting January 29th. They call it the Queer and Crafty Night. So if you're in Berkeley, you should. And if you knit or do fibercraft, you should go there. But anyway, this is from San Francisco. So I'm finishing up the second sock, and right now I'm doing the gusset. Right now I'm doing the gusset. So increase, 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 and then I'll do the heel turn and all that. I love gusset heel turn for socks. It's I don't have to memorize how to do it. It just like I just learn the mechanism of the gusset heel, like what they are. If you learn them, you'll you'll just do it. And so I'm not following any pattern on this because it's vanilla sock with heel and gusset. But anyway, it is so nice. And I started this on the way to Indonesia. And why haven't I finished it? Because I left the other ball home. So I have just enough to start the beginning of the new one, and then I've like when I arrived in Sumatra from New Jersey, and I cannot continue. That's why I just started the Abby's short socks. So anyway, so that's what I've been doing. Now, what am I wearing? I am wearing my Ulos sweater, and this is a nice transition to the next part of this episode. So Ulos, I covered Ulos in the episode number, so if this is gonna be 13, 12, 11. So basically the last episode of 2023, if you go back, I explained what ulos is. And there are a lot of ulos from North Sumatra, where my parents came from, and also we visited the area where people weave this fabric. So this is the Ula sweater that I made summer 21 Wow, summer 2022. And this is bottom up, sticked in the middle, and also sticked for the sleeves, drop shoulder, and shawl. Ooh, what do you call this? Oh, this could be the front page. Shawl collar. I love it, and I got more ulos in Sumatra. And let me drink. Oh, I need to finish soon because I need to go to New York City. This is the ulos that I got from Sumatra, and this is huge. I love this. So this is woven, and I don't know exactly what I want to do with it. It could be a wall hanging piece. I should have gotten more, and I should have gotten something that I can transform into a garment. Why? Well, on top of this ulos, me let me just sorry. I also got another fabric from my hometown. So ulos is the garment or fabric that is handmade from my parents' hometown, which is North Sumatra. But I was born in middle part of Sumatra, which is closer to Singapore. And this is called Batik Melayu. Batik I also have covered in previous episode. Melayu is the people originated from central part of Sumatra, also the people who are now in Malaysia. So Malaysia and Indonesia used to be one big region, and the language of both countries came from where I was born. So I can speak both Malay and Indonesian, and the accent of the Malay is really like, how people like originally talk from where I came from. But nowadays, the accent is more like the naturalized Indonesian language in Indonesia, also in my hometown, but in Malaysia, it's still Malay language. Anyway, this is a really nice cotton with batik style stamped technique, and I think I bought 4 meters. Anyway, it's enough for me to make a even long sleeve shirt. But so usually if we have time when we go back home, we pick the fabric and we go to the closest tailor everywhere. We have tailor everywhere. Even next to our house we have a tailor that we usually go to make our uniform growing up. So but I bought this. Sorry, let me just put it back before I continue. So I bought this with the intention to sew it myself. So I have a sewing machine, but I want to sew better. I want to get better in sewing because when I sew, uh, um, like this, the edge of the fabric is you need to have a serger, right? I never had a serger. I bought a serger, so I'll place a picture of a serger here that I got on Friday. I have no idea how to use it. I'll learn how to make a use serger, and I'll learn how to make a shirt using like a regular fabric that I can find. I have from Moods, New York City, Mood store fabric leftover that I can use to practice once I have, and also to make the form or pattern. And once I make one with that practice fabric, I will start using this fabric anyway. Another thing is that I got is this silk. Also, the uh, so this one is a woven fabric from my hometown in the middle part of Sumatra, and this one usually used for like official events, maybe weddings, or like if you're invited to go to like a governmental dinner or something, and you're wearing your traditional regional costume, and this is what you put on your head, and look at that. Isn't that a beautiful thing? I wish there will be like an international ambassador type of event in New York City that I can go to with this, and and then if I'm able to make, this, and then, the pants, I can just wear anything, and wouldn't that be nice? But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how I'll go, where I'll, wear it. But anyway, even just having it in the house, I like it. Oh, wow. Ulos and Malay Tanun. Anyway, I'll leave it on. So that's it. Oh, yeah, but I do have a couple. So now next. So I've shown you what I'm working on, what I'm wearing, and what am I gonna work next? Because I mentioned earlier, I have projects that I think will take me all the way to March. Again, I'm a monogamous knitter. I finished one project before I cast on another one, except for one secret project. So if you go back to the previous episodes, you'll figure it out. So the next project that I will be working on is this. So it will leave in this Malaysian tote bag that I got from a grocery in Malaysia. So there's this. The next one is going to be all over cable, and I'm going to use a paid for pattern from Brooklyn Tweed, and it's called the Vika sweater. I think it's from 2016 or something. It is knitted in pieces, so you knit either the front or the back panels first, and then the sleeves, and then you stitch everything together, and each of the panels will have their own cable pattern. It is written for worsted, but I think I can get the same gauge using this yarn that I got last year. So yeah, so I'm using Max Kaki's British DK. Les Garçons. So this is Les Garçons British DK in Max Kaki's colorway. And I definitely can make the gauge that they suggested for that sweater. I'll place a picture of that pattern here. Sorry. Ooh, get yourself together. Yeah, so I have a sweater quantity of this, and next, so I will start this right after I finish making this or finishing this second sock. So that's the next. So that's the next project. So that's the next project. All right. So after that, or maybe I switch the order. Maybe I finish this first. So, and this is living in a tote bag from London Museum. And this is Ella Ray Eco Tweed color Indigo. It's a beautiful, beautiful blue. Blue is my favorite. And this is DK. Again, it is for a pattern that calls for worsted. I don't really like worsted. I think I can get, worsted gauge using DK. And this is not going to be a garment anyway. So, and this color I cannot. And also for this price point, I can't pass this up. So, this will be Sophie's shawl. Yeah. For the longest time, I say no to making either Sophie scarf or Sophie shawl, but then I'm like, all right, I'll make one. Why? I mean, it's it's a really nice, like simple pattern, but I think the finished garment I will use a lot. So anyway, I don't know why, but I think this will be much faster to finish than the cable all over sweater. So maybe I start this right after I finish that sock and just, maybe do it in 1 week or so. I mean, it's just, what do you call, not stockinette. What is the other one? I always. Anyway, so that's the next project. And I still have a leftover skein, actually 1.5 leftover skein of this birthday cake sweater that I made in December. Again, I haven't even blocked this, but I have been wearing it almost every day. And I brought it all the way to Sumatra because, it was really cold the night or the early morning I went to JFK. So, and I did not want to bring thick coat because, I will not wear them once I hit Singapore. But this one is nice to wear in the plane to the airport to JFK, and also it's easy to store once I get to Singapore or in my hometown. It doesn't take a lot of place, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it. One of my favorite knit ever, and also this is my original design. But I have 1.5 of this left hat. So This will also be next. So, and this is living in, I call it my summer beach bag that I made. So, this is Hocus Pocus fabric. I suggest we form a calming circle, you know. Spook! This combination is confusing, but oh, hi, how are you? I made him the night before I left to the airport. Love it. I never felt it before. I haven't named him. Okay, so let's do this. I have a couple of things from Malaysia that I can share with the viewers. Giveaway time, giveaway. So, if you can suggest the name for this Gnome, this sassy Gnome, I will choose a winner and send some stationery gifts that I got from Malaysia, Indonesia, Sumatra, and Lake Toba, and I'll show you what they are. Yeah. What do you think I should name him? Tell me. Let me know. Put it in a comment. Next episode, I will choose a winner. So, what do I have to give? I have this shopping bag from Malaysia, huge shopping bag from Malaysia. This is new. I bought a couple of them to give as a gift, and I have one left over. So if you want one of these, it's huge. You can put, I think, 3 sweater quantities or hold your, knitting stuff with you all over, or even storage. So if you would like to have this, just type a name for that node. I also have another tote bag from an extra tote bag from a bookstore in Indonesia. It's the biggest bookstore. Everyone knows about this bookstore. It's a Gramedia. So I can add that. And also I have this pen from Handmade. So this drawing is, how do I say it? Drawn on the bamboo. And it's a pen. Yeah, so if you like that pen, the 2 tote bags, leave a comment and I'll figure out how to ship them. We'll see. Do I have time? Oh, I do need to go. Maybe 10 more minutes. So while I'm in Malaysia and Indonesia and also Singapore, once I finish knitting the sock for Abby, I did not have any other project. I decided to just go to the bookstore and pick up some books. So I picked up a couple of really nice books, and I finished 2 books, and I picked up 4, or I don't know. Anyway, I love the vacation. It was really necessary. And the first one that I finished, I don't know where it is. Stephanus. I'll just put a picture. The first one is called, in Indonesian, it's called Laskar Pelangi, but it has been translated into 30 plus languages, and in English it is called The Rainbow Troops. It is about 10 kids in an island in Indonesia, where there is a huge metal company that is, getting the metals from that island, because that island is really well known for this. And this is about like the social structure of the people who originally from that island, and the people who work for the company. So there's a social structure, social level gaps between them. And it's about, like the education that you get in Indonesia from the governmental school, and the education that the company's kids or children get from, the school that they built. Because a lot of time when there is like an oil company, so I came from an oil company in Sumatra. This company, they built their own school system. So not only they build housing for their employees, they have school system all the way from kindergarten to senior high school. The only, level that they don't have is university, but they will, give scholarship to, whoever, they choose to get scholarship to go to like university all over the world. So it hit home with this book, because it is exactly what happened, in my hometown. I was lucky enough that my father used to work for the oil company Chevron. And like we used to live in the community Chevron's housing complex. And we went to the house the school system, and I won the scholarship after, at the end of my senior high school, that they sent me full full ride to a college or university in the United States. And that's how I started my stay here, or my life here in the United States. But the book is written from the perspective of, people who live outside of the big company. So people who are in that island, and how, they maneuver throughout their lives, generational traditions. And how people try to keep up with the time, and what, they're trying to how they're trying to deal with their social life by educating their kids with what they have. So it's a really nice book. I you know I haven't read the English version of it. If I can find an English version of the book, I definitely will read it, and I will give an update, what I think about the translation. But if you are interested, it's called The Rainbow Troops. I think that's it. Another one that I got, so that one is from Indonesia, and this one is from Singapore. It's called the Campbell Gardens Ladies Swimming Club. So it's a really a funny, uh, uh, it's a really lighthearted way of telling social, also another social structure, but this time it's in Singapore. It's definitely different from an island in Indonesia, and how people are, like maneuvering their lives by living in the social the settings of how people live in Singapore, which is a lot of time people live in apartment complexes, and you will have people from different backgrounds. So this book is talking about um, um, women who are living with their family in this apartment complex. Originally, they're from India, and throughout their daily lives, they uh, socialize with each other around the apartment swimming pool, even though they could not swim. But one time they decided to take the swimming lesson, and it going through that, and it's a really nice story. My battery's about to die. If the battery died, I'll see you next time. The next book that I have is called A Sweet Braised Duck. I haven't even opened it, but this is the next one I will go. And another cultural history book, but this one is painted through food, which is The Sweet Braised Duck. I cannot wait to read it. I will I will put the information of all these books in the comments, who the writers are. Next, one more book. Well, actually, this book I got here because I kind of am in the book reading motion or momentum. So this one is City of Laughter. I was not really looking for a book last night, but I went to a bookstore. But this is their first novel. From the first novel from a non-binary Jewish, queer non-binary Jewish writer who was raised modern Orthodox. The name is Temim Fruchter. I will put the name here. I'm not sure what the pronouns are, but this is about, maneuvering through the Jewish society. And I guess I like this kind of books when I do read for pleasure. Like, I like to understand people's culture, and reading it from a book is a good representation of their culture. I guess it's one way to figure out somewhat a new culture, I guess. Anyway, that's it for now. I have to go to New York City now. I will see you next time.